welcome to Moonlight Madness. This is a reading for the sign of Sagittarius. It is the Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2021, and the decks I'll be using are the Fairy Tarot cards by Doreen and Radley Valentine, and the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette-Baron-Reid, and the Enchanted map by Colette-Baron-Reid. King of Spring. First card we've pulled is you, basically. The king is the Sagittarian Aries or Leo. In your case, it is Sagittarian. A financial windfall. Your leadership skills are needed, and unexpected supporter of your cause. Innovative, wise, and theatrical. So you may be a person that likes the stage, likes the spotlight, demands the spotlight without even trying to, and just causes, attracts attention without even aiming to. It just happens. You just may be that type of personality. You may even act in a play. You might be part of a community theatre group, and you are very diligent about your work. You're very wise. You like to inspire others to reach heights or to try something new, and maybe you're a trailblazer for others. So you set the bar high, and everyone else tries to copy or emulate you, but they really can't, because you've got something different and unique. And that's what you need to, promote, is the uniqueness of what you do. And who's crossing your path is an honourable, devoted, mature, warm-hearted man who could be a parent or a parental role figure, or a partner that is like a parent. They're a romantic partner you can trust. They are Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces energy, or maybe that's what they have in their chart. And they come to help you out with your good advice, good, well-balanced advice. And it talks about being devoted, really good parent, good parenting skills. They probably look after lots of friends and family like their own. And that's who's around you right now. They're honourable. They would like to do the right things by everyone. In the past, it said you had an awakening. And that's to do with having to change the perspective of how you look at a situation, embracing your uniqueness. Maybe you were labelled weird or different, or, she's a bit out there, or he's a bit out there, but that's because they just didn't understand that you were just being authentic, being yourself, and that can be quite daunting to people who are so used to hiding their true nature in the world that everyone else sees or everyone else goes out into. People put a mask on. They do it to protect themselves from ridicule or from judgment of others. But the fact that you're just being yourself and authentic, well, that's kind of refreshing to some people, because to be brave enough to be your unique self is another level of freedom. You don't care what people think of you anymore. Another level of freedom. I wear the most strangest clothes, and I don't care what people think of me because I'm comfortable in them. Anyone else can just, they can judge and do what they like, but at the end of the day, as long as you're comfortable with you and what you're wearing, you shouldn't care what other people think of you. Princess of Spring. Optimistic, enthusiastic, creative, energetic. It's time to go after your dreams. So there's a female in your past that was a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarian, who's young at heart, who likes to sing, dance, write, play, create. Very creative soul as well. Very good match for this Sagittarian. And they might have been in your past and you met them. They were similar to you, so you had similar belief systems. They could have been involved in marketing or media or creative endeavours that had to be marketed a certain way to aim for, national KPIs, for example, to sell a product. So that could be that person. Lots of fun, a joy to be around. Likes to volunteer work and also help others out. Then you've got the Emperor card. So this card represents someone who, this is you now. You're embodying the embodiment of all of the kings. You are heartfelt and mature, warm-hearted, devoted leader. You can be innovative, wise, and theatrical. You can be cutting, logical, realist, guarded. That's the King of Swords. And you can be the Earth sign, which is which the Emperor also represents, the King of Pentacles, which is stable, solid, logical, solid as rock, structured and organised, and a compassionate leader. So you could have all those attributes to be the leader. And then you've got here the Queen of Swords, which is the cutting, strong, patient, self-sufficient, independent leader. There's a female coming into your viewpoint who was the Queen of Swords, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini energy. She's the Snow Queen. She's like out of the movie Let It Go with the Ice Princess. She's in her castle and she likes to be up in the mountains by herself. Frozen. She's frozen, but it doesn't mean she can't be melted by the right person to warm her up. She might be cold or appear to be cold, but it's just her way to guard her heart. Maybe she's experienced loss at a very early age, or betrayal, or heartbreak, that she's now so aware of being hurt again. She's built this fortress of ice all around her in the background. Now that can thaw in time with the right partner. And then you won't have all this solid ice to get through. You'll just have liquid. She rules, her thoughts rule her heart. So her mind, her head rules her heart. Most of the time she'll logically nut something out. She won't just jump in the deep end. But it's a sun and moon energy. So maybe you might have also some Leo in your chart, Sagittarian, and that's the sun and moon. See, there's the sun and moons on her sleigh. So you might need that energy to balance. There's an attraction to that. And then you've got here the High Priestess. We got that in the Scorpio reading. It's talking about maybe getting a professional reading by a professional psychic medium or intuitive psychic. Because it's nice to have someone else read your cards for you. And you get a different viewpoint and perspective than if you were to read your own cards. They say you can't read your own cards. I disagree. I think sometimes you can. And it says you need to go for more walks and meditational reading. If reading makes you not think about things, then read. If swimming switches off that monkey mind, swim. Fish, ice skate, roller skate, draw. Do a YouTube channel. Something that takes your mind out of your mind is really important for someone who's cerebral, like a person that operates on the level of Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. Music's a really good thing to switch off your mind. The dreamer. You may have an Aquarian energy around you. The Fool. The Fool is saying, embrace your true purpose, begin a new adventure. Trust your abilities, and your abilities are real. Trust them, they are on point. They will always lead you to the right path. And now we've got a full moon in Taurus at the moment, so that's all about nurturing yourself, looking after others, also nurturing other people, whether it be through talking or reading or doing something like mowing their garden for them. It's just an act of service that they respond well to. They like someone to do things for them. That's a doing. That's a 5 Languages of Love by Gary Chapman talks about. Some people do things for you as a way to show love. Others tell you I love you or buy you presents. There's different ways to show love. Not everyone is good at using all of those 5 in the same time frame. Sometimes they have to, I guess, figure out which language works for that child or person. The moon is saying that you might be looking at something one way when in fact is another way. You may be reflecting on what has gone on in the last couple of years and wondering why things happened the way they did. You could be going through the moon phase of things ending or beginning, a new beginning. A full moon means a new beginning. It's a good sign. Usually if you get a full moon, it talks about a brand new job, or it can also talk about losing something or hurting yourself, because moons tend to carry energy of accidents, hence my thumb. Try not to worry too much. It says trust your intuitive epiphanies, understanding the truth of a situation. Something will come to light that was hidden from you or from view. An 8 of Swords is to do with you have what it takes if only you believe in yourself. Thinking about you're powerless when you're not, and the lack of self-confidence that keeps you from getting what you want. She can jump across that ice cube from one bit to the next, but she doesn't think she can, even though it's a small distance. So maybe you have lack of belief, and maybe others believe more in you than you believe in yourself. Believe in your abilities. Believe they are real. They are not yours alone to claim that they're your abilities. They come from the divine. They come from God. Everyone has them. You just choose to tune into them a little bit more than most people. And on a full moon, they're rampant. They're magnified by 10,000 amps. Like, it's like shining into the light, fully on it. The moon illuminates the ability. So that's what that's talking about. I'll pull another couple of cards out. This is the other deck. Sagittarians are the truth sayers. They believe in the right and the wrong of a situation. They like people to be honest and uphold justice. And if justice is not upheld, then they become irritated by it. Oh, I had this in my head earlier. Because of the leaves are falling down. It reminds me of roses, love. New love is coming. Soulmate. Had this picture in my head and I knew I was going to pull it. I just didn't know if it was Scorpio or if it was for Sagittarian reading. Your sun, moon or rising, he's got, like I said before, the story is this fire energy has the ability to melt the ice, also has the ability to open the ice from opening the heart with the key. He's the key, he's the other half of hers. So you may have got a soulmate or you're about to meet a soulmate. That's what that can mean as well. And maybe it's not your usual type. Maybe it's someone you never even expected to have an attraction to because they're not your normal person you go for. Maybe you like dark-haired people with dark eyes or dark-haired people with blue eyes, and this person's completely not that, and not what you had pictured yourself with. So, love works in mysterious ways. People are attracted to people for different reasons. Maybe it's someone that they grew, they had as a father figure that they may be looking for those same qualities in a partner, or someone they looked up to as a child. Observer. This is watching everyone and interacting with people. 49. Perspective, objective, neutral observation from a distance. Most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences, so much so that they come to believe that these are the only reality. Some of you may be looking at real estate. There you go. I've got realtors looking at real estate. There are times when you need distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances from a more neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times in your life. This is a perfect moment for you to begin to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment you're engaged with now. You'll be so happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. Sometimes you can't see the forest for all the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. You may have been in a legal battle. It's another thing I'm getting, another scenario. You may be in a legal battle and someone has dubbed over something that they've recorded you saying under the influence of medication, which has altered your perception of reality. And they're using that against you in a courtroom situation. There you go. It says here, and it's false, and you're going to see through the lies that someone's tried to project. Take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to a situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. It is an advantage for you to get some distance from what you're doing and see your work and your projects from a very different perspective. The trick is to connect to the essence of your goals and aspirations while letting the form and timing be dictated by the spirit. You may be too personally attached to an outcome and unable to see the miracle because it's not turning out exactly as you had planned. Trust spirit. I don't think anyone's plans turned out exactly as they planned because COVID went and wiped everyone's plans out for the next 3 years. And so, what do you do with that? You regress, you regroup. You work with what's left, what you've got to work with. It's not personal, but it seems personal because it happened to everyone. I know people lost their jobs, their livelihoods. Some of them are even having to lose their houses because they can't afford them anymore. Because of the current climate with work. People don't even know if they're going to hire or not yet because they don't know how many people are going to be out and about because how many injections have been put out there. How can you do like a forecast for a business plan when you have no idea how different how often the floor is shifting sands? There's no solid grounding. How can you hire people on a national level for a Christmas casual, like I'm hoping to get into for a job, like to pays the bills, because I'm trained in it, doesn't mean I'm going to get the job because so many people are going for that same job. And I can't take it personally because everyone is desperate to work. And I'm up against people half my age. So I'm either, like some people will be finding in their 40s, you're either overqualified or you're too old for a position and they won't tell you to your face, they'll just discriminate. Or you may have something that is different to the rest of their normal employees have, and that could exclude you from working in an industry because you may have an upper hand on knowledge of. That's a very deadly weapon if you're in a competitive field of work, when you're up against someone else and you need to make those sales and you know something about that person, a weak spot or a weak chink in their armour that you could exploit to benefit the company you work for. That's an unfair advantage. But sometimes people are born like this. They're just born that way, as Lady Gaga would tell you. So it says here, just says here, and it's an advantage. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You'll find things much improved sooner than you know. It is an advantage time for you to get some distance. The trick is to connect with the essence of your goals and aspirations while letting the form and timing be dictated by the spirit. You may be too personally attached to an outcome. The perfect version of your abundance is right in front of you. Remain neutral and curious and watch the miracle unfold. Watch what people don't say. That's one thing I've learned as I am a medium. It's the things that they don't say their body gives away what they don't want to say, but you already know. And it's funny, they try and hide it, but I can always see through it. And that can rattle people. That can unnerve people if they're not used to being read in such a way that you can see into their heart, to their very soul. It can be being bared naked. You can feel naked in front of someone with the clothes on, but of course naked because you're there before them and they know exactly how you feel. 49, and you can't hide it. Your body has little ticks that gives itself away. Perspective. Most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences and their thoughts and not yours and not your perspective. So you need to be like the hangman and hang upside down from a tree, and then you look from everything upside down. Everything's going to look very different, isn't it? It's all about perspective. There are times that people only believe their own sense of reality, and there are times when you need to distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances better from a neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times in your life. This is a perfect time or moment to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment you're engaged with now. You'll be so happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. You're all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. I had to read that twice for some reason. So people say things and are affected by what you say. Be careful what you say. It might be interpreted in the wrong way, in their perspective. And they might get hurt by that, and you might not have meant to hurt them at all. What can I find here? Sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. But not great lengths of time, just a little bit of time. Oh, there we go. Follow the leader. That matches and law of attraction to the Emperor. We talked about leadership. Wide open. That matches soulmates. Someone has to be busted wide open. Oh, and then a wild card just came out of left field. I was thinking about, I've been reading this book, which is really cool, and I have a vested interest in Meghan and Harry and how they got together. I had flashbacks of her when she first became a royal, and they did some sort of simulation where she was being taught how to, if she got kidnapped, what she would do in a situation. For some reason, I astral projected into a past memory of hers and found myself on the bathroom floor of a place I lived at. And it was like I was in her body, being left at the side of a building where they abducted her and she had to be rescued. But there was a threat of abduction. I got that very strong when she first moved there. So Harry did the right thing by moving her to a place where they had more security and where she wasn't a target. Meghan and Harry, the real story. I read this book. It's very much in favour of the British media and not the American media. So a lot of it is negative towards Meghan. But I also saw that she sees Meghan as Diana too. She calls her Diana too. Draws a circus to herself and is worried that Harry will be left out in the cold. But what she fails to see is that Meghan actually does really, really care about him. And I got that they were soulmates very early on when I first did readings. For some reason they were coming through when I was channeling. So I was thinking about that as I was reading the cards today about soulmates, about those two being star-crossed lovers from different worlds, and somehow they made it work. And it's put faith into the world that you can be from a different background, a different diverse culture, a different set of lifestyle and values, and make it work in spite of everything. And in spite of everything, I think Harry's actually happy. And Diana will be so happy to know he's happy. So she got a wish. So I pulled out the Golden Palace. And that was on my mind. So I'll read the Golden Palace because it was a left card. It was just it just came out of the bottom of the deck. The Golden Palace represents good fortune, ambitions, fulfilled wealth and prosperity. It may indicate emotional fulfillment, as perhaps you're entering a time of happiness. It's long overdue. The message here is that self-worth isn't measured by how much you have, no matter how abundant your life is. Instead, it comes from what you are, how authentic you're living your life, and how much love you're willing to share. Granted, receiving this card does indicate material gain and a furthering of tangible rewards, but things come and go, and knowing your true value leads to even greater riches now. Share the wealth. So I think he's got a sense of self because he's away from the mass, the media, and it's negative press. British are ruthless and just awful to deal with from what I've read in the book. No wonder they went and sued them. I would have too. It's an invasion of personal privacy. You know, you take a role on Duchess, but you also have a life. You're entitled to have privacy, as they say in Britain, privacy. They didn't give any of it to her and they just wanted to tear a hole in her, and I don't think that's fair. It's an assassination of character. 42. I think she's a good person and she's good for him. She makes him believe in himself, and that's really cool. He's grown exponentially in his confidence. All manner of opportunities are presented to you at this time. The wide open. So there's a new adventure coming. It's a signal you're able to truly manifest your dreams and that your goals are in sight. Don't remain small and contracted. Instead, expand your horizons. Believe in yourself beyond what you believe to be your limitations. You are a unique voice that needs to be expressed in the world, whether it be on a social media platform or in public. The universe is supportive of your new ideas and approaches at this time, so speak up and speak out. This card is a sign of the maverick who freely roams the wide open space of possibility. Allow for a greater vision to replace old ideas as you dream a grander dream. And then you've got follow the leader, which is like, I look at that like the Emperor. 40. Must be hard for Harry to go on public television and have interviews. They've done interviews all their life, I guess. They've been trained, but I find it really hard to sit in front of a camera. I'm very, very self-conscious. I don't know how they do it. Prince William said when he gives a speech, he takes his glasses off so he doesn't see the crowd properly, which I think is cool. I would do the same because then you're not so embarrassed or intimidated because you can't see them all. Follow the leader. Okay, so we've got here, every life is a teaching tool for others. Your authenticity and honesty are an example to those around you. Yeah, just be authentic. You've been called to lead others by example. Your wisdom has been earned and a result of bravery in the adventure of your life. The experiences of battles won and lost, places discovered, tears shed and joy revealed have placed you in a very unique position to be of service to others. Your suffering has been crystallized into a talisman of wisdom. Now you must share it, and it's like, it's your time. There's the clock at the top of there. Yeah. It's a time. You've come into your own. You know you must share it. By being fully authentic, you'll lead others into the light. You'll be required to divulge some things about your past so that you may help someone else who's been through similar things or going through similar things. Lead with love. There is another message here as well. Look to those whose great character and accomplishments you admire, like Princess Diana. Emulate the leaders you respect. You will then, in turn, have more to offer. Yeah, I think she took a leaf out of the right book. She emulated to be like Diana, who was a wonderful humanitarian and wonderful asset to the crown because she was there for people. She was a people's princess and she really cared about people. You can't act the way she was. There was no act, it was her. She was authentic. And she promoted a lot of charities and brought attention to a lot of things that would have been swept under the carpet. She drew attention to AIDS patients, she drew attention to the landmines, and she was always there to try and draw attention to the right things that needed to be highlighted and funded and raised charities for. So that's for that. Well, that's a good reading. What a nice reading for Sagittarian. Sagittarian, Sun, Moon, Rising, November. I hope that helps someone out there. And yeah, realty, real estate. I'm getting real estate. So maybe you're looking at moving. Maybe a sea change. Somewhere where it's wide open spaces.